To learn the good, the bad, and the reality of the off-grid lifestyle, click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Hit the bell notification. So once again, I feel like we made quite a bit of progress today on our tiny house. Started raining a little bit, so I thought I'd wrap it up. Quit a little early today, but we got one side of the floor done on our 16 by 12 foot tiny house. So we got the 16 feet done here on this side by 6 feet. And tomorrow I should be able to wrap this up, at least get pretty close. I think I'm 2 boards short on the scrap material that we decided to use. So I'm gonna have to buy a couple 2x4s to finish up, and I also need some more screws. I guess I'm gonna have to go down to the local hardware store. A few days ago it was closed, but it has since reopened. So I don't know what the deal is. I called them, they said they were gonna be open. They're a little bit more expensive than going to Home Depot, but the cost savings in gas alone and wear and tear on the truck and the time it takes to get to Home Depot, it's good. I guess 50, 60 miles from here, and then we'd have to come back. So I'll go over there and get the 2x4s and screws, and we might be able to finish this up tomorrow. It's very solid. Once I put the boards in place, I'm sitting on it now. It took all the bounciness out of it. Very strong. It's interesting, the engineering behind this, where they can use 2x4s. The structure of this is on this beam. If you really think about it, that's where all the weight is. Here, there's a bolt right here and a tab right here, so it's all bolted to that beam. So all the structure and weight is distributed on that beam on both sides. I think it's really neat how they did that. And then I was able to actually reinforce the strength by putting this center beam in here, and then I was able to attach it to that piece of steel beam there. So I'm really happy with the way this is turning out, and it was all free. Well, almost free. Paid $46 for the center beam. Like I said yesterday, had to get two 2x6s and some screws. And of course, like I said, I'm gonna have to get a couple more 2x4s. So we'll be up to 40, 50 bucks, and we'll have the floor completed. And then the next step is we're gonna buy the insulation, and we're putting insulation on the floor in between each floor joist, and then we'll get the plywood. I'm not gonna use tongue and groove. If you know what tongue and groove is, that really firms up the seams on the plywood. What I'll do is I'll run at every seam, I'll run a piece of 2x4 or a 2x2 in between to hold that up. And again, I got tons of that scrap material that I could use. So I think I'm gonna save, like, if I looked it up online, I'm gonna save 15 bucks per sheet, and I need 6 sheets. So that's a huge savings. I don't know if everybody is like me, but I think the human brain has to have activity. It has to be able to think. At least my brain does. And when I'm not being challenged or having to problem solve something, I think I'm actually unhappy. Carolyn and I spent 3 years as a nomad. There wasn't any challenges in life. Once we got everything established and we were moving on, the truck camper was built. We had figured out everything that we needed to figure out. We just traveled around. I was just not happy doing the nomadic lifestyle. But being here, I've had to figure out how to do things challenged myself, Carolyn and I both have challenged me, to do everything as cheaply as possible. Meaning that if I need something, I better question, is there a way to do it without going and buying something? And I really enjoyed doing this. Most everything I've been able to do either very cheaply or for free. And so like the well. So we had the well. It was going to cost a lot of money to have someone come out and put a pump in it and do the whole thing. I decided I was going to do it myself. Well, my initial cost assessment, when I looked at a 220 well pump, 220 volt, I think they were like $300 or $400. They were pretty expensive. And the thing is, I wasn't going to be able to use it. I was going to have to figure out how to run a 220 pump, which meant that I was going to have to get a bigger generator, much bigger generator. And it was probably going to be about $500 just for the generator. So now I'm up to $700, $800 to run a well. Well, I found a 110 pump on Amazon. And it took some doing to find this pump. It wasn't real easy. I didn't even know they existed. So that's why it was so hard to find. And when I did, I found a pump for like $110 that I could run off my generator. And if I get a bigger charge controller, which I need anyways, so it's not like I'd be wasting money, I'll be able to run it off solar panels. So I won't even need the generator. And then I decided that we won't buy a pressurized tank for the well. We used an IBC tank and treat it like an RV. So if you think about an RV has a tank, that's essentially what that is. It has an RV pump, runs off DC electric, so we run it off our solar panels. So every once in a while, I got to fill the tank up. If I would have waited, I wouldn't even need to buy the pipe that goes with the pump, because right here on the property, there's pipe laying all over the place that I could have used. So I bought pipe that I didn't really need. Right here is this pipe. It's kind of under the grass right now, but I could have used that and saved myself, I think it was $100 or $50. I forget what it was. I will say, every time I make a video, someone will tell me what tool I need to make the job easier. Well, I'm not looking to make the job easier. And I really think this is a struggle for a lot of people to understand. My job, if you really think about it, is to save money. Just like if I were to go and work for an employer, I would make money. And so when I come home from the employer, I want to build something, okay? Well, then in that case, yeah, you want to make it easier because next morning you got to get up and you got to go back to work. So you only get a limited amount of time to yourself to do anything. So you go and buy the expensive tools. But you got the job that you can do that with. My job is to actually build things and save money while I'm doing it. So I don't need the expensive tools. I just need the time to do it. Since we're in this economic downturn anyways, this gives me a real opportunity to say, okay, do I really need to spend the money and dip into our savings account? Or can I do it some other way? So like using this scrap lumber. These boards turned out really nice. If you look at this board here, it looks almost new. But that was all from this scrap material that was rotting away. I mean, if you look at this board, it looks terrible. But when I actually get down to the center of it and I cut out the rotten parts, it made some really nice, strong boards that I was able to use on the house. So imagine this, a project that I think was going to cost, I don't know, $200 is only going to cost us like $50 now, because I was able to use my mind. And the thing is, by using my mind, I'm feeling happier than I've felt in a very long time. I would say 3 or 4 years. The last time I was this happy is when I started working at a manufacturing company where I had to develop processes, and I was designing different lines and how to run different lines efficiently. I was really happy doing that. Well, now I'm back to having to use my brain and design things that have never been designed before because I don't have the tools to do it, and I'm not going out and spending a fortune on materials. As I've said in previous videos, I've done a survey, and 67% of the people said that they come and watch my channel to learn how to live off grid. Well, I mean, my channel is not only to learn to live off grid, it's also to live off grid in a tiny house, and lastly, on a budget. And so if we're going to learn how to live off grid on a budget, the way you do that is by exercising your brain, saying, okay, I can't go out and buy anything. If you just tell yourself that you are locked to your property. You cannot go anywhere. We are stuck at home. Can't spend any money because we don't have any to spend because of the economic downturn. The stores are closed. Can't go and get that thing. If you tell yourself that, then you're challenging yourself to say, okay, but I still want to build a house. How do I do that? Do I have anything that I can build a house with? These are the kind of things that I think we're all going to have to start getting back to basics. If the economy takes the downturn for a long period of time, if we get into another depression or a serious recession, we're going to have to look at our parents and grandparents' way of life with the way they did things during the depression. Things to consider. Thanks for watching.